अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गो श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। संवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। नमो विश्वदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामी। नमो विश्वदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं। श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। साध साधुताय नति नीचोषित प्रेम रत्कुंठयोस्पुरा। Hare Krishna. So, second last name in this song, Chala Bhakti Dushana. One who destroys, more than using the word destroy. You won't get proper words anyway in English. One who refutes pretentious and hypocritical devotion. You can say destroy also. So, Chala Bhakti Dushana. So, we were discussing about Chala Bhakti. Especially that we were in discussing about Bhakti of Sahajiya groups. I will read about this little bit from Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav, Volume 2, Chapter 10. The title is Deviant Vaishnava Groups, that is Sajiyas. So it starts with a quote from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur from his book Amritavani. Amritavani is a collection of sayings of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in English. There is a Bengali also, a Bengali version of that is called Srila Prabhupadera Upadeshamrita. To consider a non-devotee a devotee and false bhakti as bhakti is simply self-deception. Until one is fortunate enough to serve and respect devotees, he will continue to desire to fabricate that non-devotees are devotees. Means generally in that neophyte stage is explained, right? He can't understand who is devotee and who is non-devotee. Or he thinks himself to be a devotee and everyone else has non-devotees, including devotees. So everyone would have this kind of attitude in the beginning, understanding, perception. Can a crow become a peacock simply by wearing peacock feathers? Can a blue jackal become the king of animals? You all know the story of blue jackal, no? From Hitopadesha. How long can cheating remain covered? The truth will certainly be revealed. Very nice, no? Generally in the beginning, Of course, not everyone would have, but some would have this doubt whether the guru whom I am accepting is he bona fide guru. Like there will be many thoughts would be there. First of all, one should be sincere oneself. What we want to achieve in life, we should be sincere about it. If we are not sincere, if we ourselves want to deceive ourselves, like we discussed that Chala Bhakti, no, that what is that? Another name was there. Kapati Vigatana Kama. So how we are kapatis in the material world. So if we have sincere desire, then Krishna will surely send us a genuine guru. If we want something else, then we will have some cheater for us. So this faith should be there in Krishna. And in a true path, there can never be cheating. If not all the time actually. So that cheating cannot continue for a long time. So how long can cheating remain covered? The truth will certainly be revealed. Sometime if you see in bhakti, within bhakti circles, whatever sadhana we may do, that may act like a lid on the lid of a box, whatever, of a box, In other words, bhakti covers our anarthas. Yeah, let it cover, but we should do sadhana and bhakti to the extent that not only it covers us, it should purify that. Internally it should purify that. If our level of sadhana is just at the level of just covering the lid, so then eventually lid will open and our anarthas will be revealed. So especially when you become weak in sadhana. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Thirobhav, so this is writing. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Thirobhav, multifarious unauthorized methods of worship were introduced into the Gaudiya Sampradaya. These were easily taken up by the masses who readily accepted bhakti yet also easily misunderstood it. Many seeming to be inclined especially to heretical versions. If you don't understand any word, you can stop me. By the late 19th century, the original tradition that had decayed so lamentably that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings in their pure form had become largely obscured by spurious sadhus and sects who claimed to be his votaries while diverging in various ways from his actual teachings, thus creating much confusion by introducing methods of bhakti non-conformant with those given by standard acharyas. So long sentence. So this is, standard acharya. Based on their purported godly revelations, leaders of these miasmic cults exploited common folks' implicit faith in Lord Chaitanya and the holy names, and hence introduced various gross and subtle distortions into the Sankirtan movement. Some groups claimed divine dispensation by declaring Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or one of his principal associates as their founder, while others considered their charismatic leaders reincarnation of Lord Chaitanya and his followers. Thus all were deemed apasampradaya. Even what to speak of in Navadvip and in Bengal, even in Vrindavan area, so many apasampradayas. and that he has died now and gone. That Kripal used to claim that he is a reincarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So while others consider their charismatic leaders reincarnations of Lord Chaitanya and his followers, thus all were deemed Apasampradayas. To various degrees, all the Apasampradayas resembled authentic Sampradayas. Actually, this about Apasampradaya, there is massive information here. But this is not all in all. In writings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you will get a lot of it. To various degrees, all Apasampradayas resembled authentic Sampradayas and their members considered themselves Bhaktas. Yet they were disqualified from Shuddha Bhakti as defined by Srila Rupa Goswami. For in the name of Lord Chaitanya, they cultivated all that he rejected, namely Karma, Jnana and Anyabhilasha. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had denounced such aberrations and in great detail had distinguished the pure teachings of Lord Chaitanya from those of deviant groups, incisively noting that being motivated by desire for acclaim as advanced spiritualists, yet utterly unworthy of such laudations on the pretext of supporting Vaishnava Dharma, the members of the renegade Sampradayas tried their best to pollute it. Sri Totarama Babaji, a highly respected 18th century devotee of Navadvip, had listed 13 prominent Apasampradayas. But these 13 are not all in all. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Just as, because everyone mixed many things from all these different Apasampradayas and you can claim them. And often to compartmentalize them, it was difficult also. So, Aula, Bhaula, Kartabhaja, Neda, Dharaveshi, Sai, Sahajiya, Saki Beki, Smarta, Jata Gosai, Ativadi, Chuda, Dhari and Gauranga Nagari. I think I should briefly discuss these things here. What are these 13? So generally, Aula, Baula, Kartabhaja, no, not Kartabhaja. Aula, Baula, this Dharavesha and Sai, they are put together in Baula Sampradaya. Although they have their own different meanings. Baula means that word came from Sanskrit word Vatula. Vatula means mad. And or Vyakula. Vyakula means bewildered. So basically they are mad. So these people basically they imitated Lord Chaitanya's transcendental ecstasies. It's a kind of, if a materialistic person sees or hears about this kind of descriptions about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, obviously they will think that he is gone mad actually. So I think Encyclopedia Britannica describes Lord Chaitanya that he was a saint and then he became mad or something like that. So, epileptic, he became epileptic or something. So, like that. So these people, they did not understand that his ecstasies are transcendental. They are not mundane, material. And on material plane, we cannot understand them. So, like in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada, he explained about Arjuna's trembling, hair standing on end, crying and all those things. So, those symptoms can be found on material plane also and they can be found on transcendental plane also. So, like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental ecstasies were imitated by these mundaners, Prakrita, Bhaktas, you can call them as Bhaktas because they would maybe chant Hare Krishna and do some Sankirtan. So that is Baula Sampradaya. So lot of them, because that time Muslim rule was there, so lot of people were converted to Muslim also. So and all these Muslim, especially Sufism, etc., they were mixed. The emotions of Sufism, they were mixed with Bhakti, and then so they were presented as ecstasies of devotional service. So therefore owls, so owl is a word derived from Arabic actually. And similarly Daravesh is a Muslim mendicant. So like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no, Sanatan Goswami, he told his Muslim jailer that I am going to become Daravesh, I am going to become Muslim. And similarly Sai also, Daravesha generally they are mendicants, but they wear Hindu saffron robes actually. I had seen such people in my childhood actually. So all over India they were roaming. And Sai has no rules and regulations. He is also mendicant. So our Swatra Maharaj in his book on Apasampradayas, he mentioned that this Sai Baba is one of that category. This Sai. So they would have no rules and regulations, no boundary, nothing. They just keep roaming. And food was not an issue at all in India. Now it is different. You may not get food. Many of the sadhus, I think, they don't get food at all actually. Of course, a lot of them are all ganja smoking sadhus. But you see here and there. So these are 4 groups. Then comes Karta Bhajas. So Karta means incumbent master. Incumbent master means the present Guru. He is called as Karta. Generally, Supreme Lord is called as Karta. So this word particularly indicates. So worship of Karta Bhaja. Worship him as good as God. It's there in the Shastra, definitely, that Guru should be respected like God only. So, but these people, Karta Bhaja, there was one person called Aul Chand. So he was born in 1686 and died in 1779, almost 100 years he lived. See, 93 years old, 93. So these people would worship Krishna, but they would eat meat, and their tendency was towards impersonalism, and they would practice mysticism, and basically their main thing is Karta Bhaja. They equated Guru with the God. So later his disciple, this Aul Chand disciple, Karta Ram Sharan, he became very famous. So like that, and so basically everything should be offered to Guru, everything belongs to him, like that philosophy, including your newly wed wife. So all kinds of horrible things actually. And then Neda. There is another name for them. And Neda, Nedis also. Neda means male and Nedi means Nedi means female. They would be shaven-headed actually. Neda means shaven-headed. So females also would be shaven-headed. So actually after Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, and then when Veerabhadra Goswami, he was a son, you all know he is the son of Chaitanya Nityanand Prabhu. When he became leader of the Gaudiyas, he converted many of these into devotees. So, means into proper sampradaya. I think some 1200 or 12,000, I don't remember now. 1200 and another 1300 needies. So he initiated them, he put them into proper path, but he allowed them to earn some livelihood by doing kirtan. So this is how professional kirtaniyas were born. That was actually why he allowed it. It was some time, place, circumstance, occasional advice it was. So, but circumstantial instruction it was, but they made it as their occupation. Then this is how that sampradaya of professional kirtaniyas is still going on. So Ativadis, yesterday I have Sahajiya I have discussed yesterday. Ativadis I have discussed. Then Gauranga Nagaris. So you all know that song is there, no? Brajavara Nagar Gokula Ranjana Khana. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he describes Krishna as a hero. And Brajavara Nagara, basically Nagara means hero, but he is an enjoyer of damsels of Brajavara, Vadus. Brajavara means the damsels of Vrindavan. So he is an enjoyer of. So Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So it is true that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but in this avatara, so he did not exhibit that pastimes of being the supreme enjoyer. So Gauranga Nagari is what they did. They portrayed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Nadiya. They are also called as Nadiya Nagara. So Gaura Nagara or Nadiya Nagaras. So these are Gauranga Nagari group. So they were strict followers. They would do bhajan very nicely, strictly, but they had this misconception about Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So like there are different kinds of misconceptions, sadhya sadhana tattva vibrama, swatattva vibrama, paratattva vibrama. So sadhya sadhana tattva vibrama. So confusion about what is actually goal of life and how to attain it. And swatattva vibrama means confusion about oneself. So this kind of Gauranga Nagaris, their misconception comes in paratattva vibrama. So not clear about Lord Chaitanya. Paratattva. Lord Chaitanya is paratattva. Krishna is paratattva, supreme absolute truth. So in this avatara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took the role of devotee and particularly mood of Srimati Radharani. So when one projects him as enjoyer, then there will be rasabhas. There will be mixture of the rasas. So that was the problem. It was a rasabhas. That also we can say that it is sadhya tattva vibrama. It is sadhana sadhya tattva vibrama also it can be said as. Anyway, like that. So they are Gauranga Nagaris. Then there are Smartha. They are strict followers of Smriti Shastras. They would follow rules and regulations very strictly. So generally they would be their path is karma mimamsa. but the goal is impersonalism. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur very nicely explained by comparing with Krishna Leela. When Krishna came to Mathura, and you all know that he met when he was roaming in the streets of Mathura. So he came across that washerman who was dyeing the clothes of Kamsa. And Krishna asked him to give some clothes, and then that washerman was an atheist, and he objected, why I should give you, this belongs to king, and then he insulted Krishna. Then Krishna killed him. So comparing with this incident, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so that washerman was very expertly dyeing the clothes. So these colors they are fruitive results of the karma kanda. So they are very expertly follow them. Follow means they deal with these colors actually, washerman. So similarly, karma kanda is this karma mimamsaka smartas, they follow this karma kanda and karma mimamsa. Then very rigidly follow all the rules and regulations. Then but their ultimate goal is to, of course, definitely they want to enjoy sense gratification. So their master is Kamsa. So impersonalism, impersonal Brahman, merging in impersonalism is their goal. So he compared that to Kamsa. So of course we should not misunderstand these with the karma mimamsakas, because smartas they are somewhat almost like karma mimamsakas. So and they would be caste conscious also. They believe in the Brahmanism by birth. So that is Smarta idea. And particularly these Smartas in Bengal, they were opposed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking sannyas actually. So not every Smartas would be opposed to it actually, because these followers of Shankaracharya also, they are Smartas, but they are not against taking sannyas. That difference we should know actually. But the karma mimamsakas, all karma mimamsakas would be, they are opposed to sannyas actually. So particularly this group they were opposed, and so that gradually creeped in Vaishnavism, Gaudiya Smarta mentality. So in this way, this Smarta Apasampradaya was born within Gaudiyas. That means everything should be, all the rituals have to be done in a Smarta way, not in a Vaishnava way. Because there was one in Bengal who was a very, very famous Smarta called Raghunandan Bhattacharya. So Smarta Raghunandan, very famous. He wrote Smriti Shastras for Smartas in Bengal. But our Vaishnava Acharyas like Sanatan Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, they also wrote Smriti Shastras. So how to do all these rituals in a Vaishnava way. But generally they would, so these Smartas, so that Smarta mentality, Smarta procedures were included in, and only they can become gurus in Gaudiya Sampradaya. So like that it came. Just similar to them is Gajati Gosais, so caste Goswamis. So there were 6 original Goswamis were there. They engaged, because these Goswamis are renounced. They did not on daily basis, they did not do deity worship. They had established temples. They did not do daily deity worship. So they engaged some of the Grahastha Brahmanas, local Brahmanas, to do worship. So Sanatan Goswami engaged some Brahmanas, Rupa Goswami engaged some Brahmanas, Gopal Bhatta, like that. So then later these Brahmanas, they took the title of Goswami. Actually Goswami word applies to, we are descendants of Sanatan Goswami, we are descendants of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, we are descendants. So all these groups are there in Vrindavan. Those who worship now these original temples of Gaudiya Vaishnava, they are all caste Goswami, Jati Goswamis. Apart from that, Narottam Parivar, Nityananda Parivar, Nityananda Vamsha, and Advaita Parivar, and all this Parivar, because they are family descendants, they became leaders of the Sampradaya, and they claim that only those who are born from our semen, in other words, in our family, they can become gurus, they can initiate like that. So all these Parivars and Vamshas and caste Goswamis were born. So then there is Saki Beki and Chudadhari. They are both same. So they are Chudadhari. Chuda, you understand, no? Covering the veil. Or wearing, like they would dress like gopis. Even the male members would also dress like gopis. And in the mood of, so basically gopi bhav, So they cultivating gopi bhav. Even though they would be male, they will make sound like females, speak like females, make jingles like females. And once in a month, 3 days, they went into incognito also. So there are a lot of funny incidents about them.
Why it is required in the spiritual world if there are no spiritual?
Yeah, that's the funny thing about them. Lot of funny things are there about them actually. So so all kinds of things. You see, there is some element of philosophy and bhakti in them actually, right? Gopi bhav, Gopir Bharatur Padakamal means we want. So all these things are there, in the mainstream philosophical thought of Gaudiyas actually. So, but they, along with that, they mixed all kinds of rubbish things and made up their own sampradayas. So therefore they are called as apasampradayas, deviant groups actually. So apart from this, there were all other kinds of things actually. Guru Prasadi apasampradayas, that one I mentioned about that. That everything should be first offered to Guru. Even if you are newlywed, bride also should be offered. So like that, Guru Prasad is very nasty. There are many such things, nasty things. So overall they had completely spoiled the name of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Then these recent acharyas came, especially Saraswati Thakur. So his whole life was dedicated to refute these people. Okay, I will read some more things about them. A 19th century researcher named Sri Akshay Kumar Datta was the first of the several subsequent scholars to provide more extended lists of Gaudiya sects. In his Bharatavarshiya Upasaka Sampradaya, sects of worshippers in India, he enumerated 56. Subgroups abounded, mixing elements from various of these sects and also from Islam, especially Sufism, itself considered deviant by Orthodox Muslims, Mayava, Tantra and other non-Vaishnava schools. Most being little organized or structured, these parties were not clearly demarcated. So this makes it more difficult to compartment them, right? So, define what they are actually. Some identified themselves as Vaishnavas, some only partially, some hardly at all. Other than that, by geographic propinquity, their practices and beliefs influenced and were influenced by the greater body of Chaitanyite Vaishnavism. Except at the crudest of levels, doctrinal matters and creedal differences between the apasampradayas were of little concern to the majority of their current adherents, who, being unlettered and unphilosophical, had scant interest in metaphysical subtleties. In some areas, members of certain subsets considerably outnumbered those of others. Yet all lived more or less contiguously in an unholy medley of ignorant consensual tolerance and acceptance. Apart from diverse particularities of dogma, ritual, and custom, there was little difference between the miscellaneous legions of degenerate Vaishnavas, as almost all shared much the same outlook in justifying their materialistic modes of worship and masking their loose lifestyles. Nor were those sects that upheld moral values exonerated for even subtle philosophical incongruity, disqualified a supportive sampradaya as heretical. And although much of what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and the Gaudiya Math stood for and practiced mirrored teachings and observances current in upper sampradayas, the differences between them were yet so chasmal as to cause perennial conflict. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati inherited Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's consistent objecting to any rubric of Vaishnava Dharma that did not adhere to Shuddha Bhakti as defined by Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati pinpointed the misconceptions, mainly of upper sampradayas of philosophical leaning. Of course, we are supposed to be discussing how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refuted all this or destroyed this. We all know how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he always manifested the real teachings through his followers, right? And in recent times, he is a real Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is his real follower. The dissoluteness of the dissoluteness of the dissolute being self-evident to any minimally decent person. So, dissolute means how is pinpointed the misconceptions mainly of upper sampradayas of philosophical leaning, the dissoluteness of the dissolute being self-evident to any minimally decent person. So dissolute means one who doesn't have any moral restrictions.
Indulging in immoral activity.
And that's what I'm saying. There is no restriction, moral restrictions. So dissoluteness of dissolute being self-evident in any minimally decent person. Rejecting even many devotees who seemed advanced, austere, absorbed in bhajana and experiencing higher ecstasies, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati maintained that their bhava could not be wholly pure unless their siddhanta was fully correct. For any philosophical error presupposed at least an increment of their spirit to either enjoy Krishna or enjoy separately from him. Due to their maintaining such attitude, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati considered such upper sampradayas and their adherents not merely deviated from the path of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but actually inimical to him. Gaura Virodhi, he used to use the word. He compared to Satan those imitative devotees who, while claiming to follow Sri Rupa Sanatana, were actually against their principles. Since certain philosophical defects of upper sampradayas were elusive and discernible only to persons steeped in Vaishnava Siddhanta, Srila Saraswati Thakur analyzed and exposed such tweaking in minute detail. He composed and published in Sajjana Toshani, Prakrita Rasa Shata Dushani, 100 refutations of mundane mellows, 78 Thor's couplets that hammered on misconceptions and malpractice of deviant materially motivated devotees. And he often quoted verses from Prema Vivarta that epitomized upper sampradayas derogations. This is another thing. You know, he is immediate follower, right? He is associate actually, Jagadanand Pandit was. So through Jagadanand Pandita, mainly in those days, so Bhakti Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu destroyed these upper sampradayas. Yadi bhaji be gora sarala kara nijamana, kuti nati chadi bhaja gorara charana, gorara ami मुखे भलीले नाही chale. Or like in ISKCON we say Jai Prabhupada, lot of times Jai Prabhupada is taught, but when it comes to his teachings, no. Often it's so bad actually. Oh, now times have changed. In the name of time, place, circumstances, basically making Prabhupada teachings outdated actually. That's very nonsense. It is completely nonsense actually. That time was different, now is different, nonsense actually. In fact, actually, if you see the cycle, time cycle, after hippie movement, before there is yuppie movement was there, means everyone was into all this economic development. After Second World War, America became superpower and people were into working hard and earning lots of money and their own sense enjoyment. That is what is yuppie movement actually. Then hippie movement came. Then again after hippie movement, yuppie movement came actually. So if you see the time cycle and the present Indian society, you see that all the fellows are working hard and earning lots of money, especially in India. They are very duty bound. In my life I have to work hard and earn lots of money and enjoy whatever their sense gratification. It seems that hippie movement didn't pick up in India at all actually. And hippies are the worst cases to preach actually. Prabhupada. Why we think that now Prabhupada teachings are outdated actually. There is no, even if you analyze intellectually the society, you should not feel. In fact, it should be more easier to introduce. Of course, the hippie movement had its own advantages for preaching actually. Means every situation has negative and positive. So if you see from cultural context, it should be more easy to introduce Krishna consciousness now than before actually. But unfortunately, people have lost faith. They think that without mixing anything, we can't preach actually. Or we have to make some lots of jokes and are this all, what is that?
Bridge.
Bridge preaching is one. What is this?
Yoga.
Motivational preachers. So he says, just by saying Gora Rama or Gora Rama, no, Gora Rami, mukhe bolile nahe chale, Gorar achar, Gorar vichar, laile phala phale. So every moment you try to understand or accept the behavior of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his thoughts, his philosophy basically, vichara means. If you desire, I'll read the translation. If you desire to worship Lord Gauranga, make your mind simple and straightforward. Giving up duplicity, worship the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga. Merely saying I am Gauras will not do. Following his example, and judgment will bear fruit. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had begun the struggle against apasampradayas by upholding Mayapur as the birthplace of Sriman Mahaprabhu, by chastising the impostor avatara Bishakishana, and particularly by his forceful writings, for instance stating cheating forms of so-called bhakti to be more dangerous than outright atheism, because they appear as bhakti but are not, just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he told to Kashira Mayavadis, I think also to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya or one of them. So it is better to be atheist, that means Buddhist, outrightly at least they reject the Vedas, than to be a Mayavadi. Why? Because in the name of Veda misguiding people is more dangerous, he says. Similarly, in the name of bhakti, so misleading is more dangerous than atheism actually. Unfortunately, in contemporary society, in the name of Shuddha Bhakti, various types, this is writing of Bhakti Siddhanta, various types of mixed devotion such as Karma Mishra, mixed with fruitive action, Jnana Mishra, mixed with speculative knowledge, and Yoga Mishra, mixed with yoga process, as well as various impure and imaginary notions are spreading everywhere like the germs of a plague. People in general consider these contaminated and mixed approaches to be bhakti and respect them as such. Thus they remain deprived of Shuddha Bhakti. These polluted and mixed conceptions are our greatest enemies. Some people say that there is no value in bhakti, that God is an imaginary sentiment only, that man has merely created the image of a God in his imagination, and that bhakti is a pestilent state of consciousness which in no way can benefit us. Though opposed to bhakti, such people cannot much harm us because we can easily recognize and avoid them. But those who propagate that, this is the point you see. Bhagavad Bhakti is the highest dharma, yet behave contrary to the principles of Shuddha Bhakti and instruct others against those principles can be especially harmful, for ultimately they lead us on to the path of totally contrary to Bhagavad Bhakti. Therefore, the previous acharyas have scrutinizingly defined the intrinsic nature of bhakti and repeatedly cautioned us to avoid polluted and mixed conceptions. So this is from Bhakti Tattva Viveka, chapter 1 of Bhaktivinoda. This is a quote of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Continuing Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's initiative, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati committed himself to upholding the dignity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's parampara and thus declared war on apasampradayas, vowing to save at least the society of Gaudiya Vaishnavas from their nefarious influence. Once, he writes, once Tridanda Sannyasi Sri Ramanuja Swami of South India, who was an avatar of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, delivered the Vaishnavas of this world from the talons means? No. That birds would have beaks, what they call beaks, right? So that is called as talons. They hold their prey actually. That is the meaning here. Vaishnavas of this world from the talents of the worshippers of 5 gods. Who are the worshippers of 5 gods? Mayavadis, Panchopasakas. Today, by the endeavors of effete servants, effete means weak. Today, by the endeavors of the effete servants of Vaishnavas like us, the religious principles of the scriptures will again be established in Aryavarta. We are taking refuge of Sri Guru and Gauranga in order to deliver Gaudiya society from the clutches of envious pseudo-Vaishnavas such as Aul, Baul, Prakrita Sajya, Neda, Dharaveshi, Sai, Gauranga Nagari, Jata Gosai, and false renunciates. This is from Brahmana and Vaishnava, page number 192-93. Okay. There is lot. Next comes his false gurus. Then there was also all these kind of things, What is that famous eating fish? Vaishnavas eating fish, etc. So when first in 1930 or something, when first time Bhaktisiddhanta, not even just maybe around that or just before that, when he first sent his devotees to preach in Bangladesh, in Dhaka. So
that time Bangladesh was
not.
That time Bangladesh was not there. East Bengal.
Anyway, that is what I am. So when he sent them there to preach, so it's Vaishnavas were there. There are a lot of preaching going on there. Gaudiya Vaishnavism was widely spread. So then, but most of them were all these Apasampradayas. Our devotees, they preached, these Saraswati Thakur's disciples. Who was that? Oh, that first sannyasi of Gaudiya Math, Bhakti Pradeep Goswami, what is his name? I am forgetting. Pradeepa is their name. He was there and another few devotees went there. So they preached against them. And it became such a issue that they were told that no one should give alms to these devotees. They declared all over the town. Then when they wrote about that to Bhaktisiddhanta, drink Ganges water and survive, but don't compromise, he said. So, like that. Anyway, so these Apasampradayas and all these misconceptions can also come in ISKCON. And they came also even in the presence of Srila Prabhupada. Anyone would like to give some examples? Even in presence of Srila Prabhupada, such ideas got crippled. Gopi Bhav Club was formed. And the leader of the Gopi Bhav Club became pregnant by having illicit sex with the members. Then Prabhupada had to chastise and close that. Just like Kharta Bhajas, they say that Guru is God. Such thing was happened in New Vrindavan. Like that, Mayavad. So all this kind can become. And the major one now in the present ISKCON is this philanthropical work. So yesterday one devotee sent me one picture of how all over the world ISKCON temple is doing. So there was a message from one temple actually. And all over the world, in that message it was mentioned that all over the world devotees are doing this, ISKCON temples are doing this. Now because of Corona, distributing food to the needy people. I don't know who is suffering. I don't think so here anyone, I didn't see anyone here. There are poor people here around us also. No one, one day one front fellow complained a little bit, but he is going on, he is enjoying life. They are daily wage workers actually, front people. Of course they have these built houses and earning some money. So everyone is going on. That is one major deviation now presently. Actually, we should encourage ISKCON devotees to do all this philanthropical work, especially in a Vaishnava way. Distributing prasadam should be done, but grahasthas. And as an institution, or the members of the institution, internal core member, they should guide the grahasthas to do all these things. There is no wrong in doing this. But the institution itself should not do this. Institution is mostly, it is meant to do ideological, to give ideological guidance. And particularly institution should, the main service of the institution to, the social service of the institution, main service is of course give Krishna consciousness to everyone. The main social service or philanthropical work of the institution is to give guidance to establish Varnashram Dharma. Give guidance to establish Varnashram Dharma. That is the most important philanthropical work, that is Shastrik, that is given by the Acharyas, and that will bring real glory to this institution actually. Like one of the main reason why these people, they want to do, of course, it's a lot of money comes by that. They want to create goodwill among the people actually in the society. Oh, this institution is very nice. But then you will lose your own identity. But goodwill, better goodwill can be created by doing this service of establishing, giving guidance to establish Varnashram Dharma actually. So this should be very clear, clearly understood. If anyone has any doubts about this, they can challenge me. I am ready to debate on this.
How do we understand the Prabhupada instruction that in Mayapur he told nobody within the radius of 10 kilometers from temple they should not go hungry. So how do we understand in this context?
So how many are going hungry in the radius of the circle? Tell me. Who are? Even Jhopadpati Walas has 30,000 iPhones actually. Right? In modern society. Often devotees, those who come to temple, they don't, you see the hypocrisy of all these ISKCON temples is. Those who come to temple, they don't get prasadam. Like once I went to Delhi temple actually. And the guest reception devotee told us, all of us who had come in a group, small group, we had small group. Sunday feast program was there. Prabhuji, you have to go in the front, otherwise you will not get prasadam. And literally every Sunday, devotees who come for Sunday program, they fight like cats and dogs. And they advertise distributing foods to hundreds and thousands of people, to children and all. What is this nonsense actually? What is this? People are fighting like, literally this is a scene there actually. I don't know what is now. When I went it was there, and the devotee, when he told that, because there is a reason behind that, right or not? You have to go ahead and take prasadam like. And we took prasadam, and second time when we wanted to take, second round when we wanted to, we didn't have prasadam actually. And you are becoming so philanthropic to give 10 kilometers radius. What is this hypocrisy actually? Many devotees, another devotee told me he went to the temple and they didn't have prasadam in the temple and they have to give 120 rupees per one dosa in the Govinda to eat and come, because he had taken his elderly parents who needed prasadam definitely. And he is life member actually. Okay, anyway, who is going hungry also? Yeah, give prasadam, lots of prasadam. Prasadam should be distributed. Those who come to temple, give them lots of prasadam actually. And traditionally it was like Prabhupada wrote that every temple in India they would distribute prasadam actually. And also giving, even presenting it as mundane welfare work is more dangerous actually. You can tell that we are distributing Krishna prasadam. Let some Muslims ready to take it. Okay, so any other questions, comments?
You were telling about the institutions involved in this prasad distribution. We are just meant to be giving ideological guidance, but Grahasthas should take up this service. In that way, Grahasthas, the present situation in ISKCON, Grahasthas are busy doing their job, they are giving donation to temple. Maybe,
So you became catering institution. Instead of Krishna conscious institution, you became catering institution. They will give money and you do catering. Not you, sorry I am saying.
Certainly, this hypocrisy I have seen in front of my eyes. Those who come to temple, they are put in outside prasadam list of rules for taking prasadam in temple. But
that coupon system and all coupon.
They advertise that we are distributing so much. Of course, that is happening.
So my point is, we don't have to become catering service people actually. It's a catering institution actually. Catering business it is. So Grahasthas, they should have time then. Why that is their dharma. They have to do dharma, Grahastha dharma. Otherwise, how they will make progress?
Actually, I felt one ideal thing is about this Amritsar Gurudwara. Whoever comes there, they will get food.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not prasad. Before they were not using onion garlic. I don't know how many years back they started using onion garlic. Gurudwara.
Prabhupada wrote that every temple, like in Jagannath Puri, like that he wrote. Of course, now in Jagannath Puri also you have to purchase it in Anand Bazaar.
I think
But previously it was like that, right? Every temple, like now presently in Guruvayur, Udupi, Udupi is also now adopted Akshay Patra model by the mercy of their friendship with this man on the hill actually.
No, actually in all South Indian traditional or ancient temples this tradition is there. Many in North India also they do, but when we took people to Mayapur and Vrindavan, and when we told our new people actually from Karnataka that we have to pay for the prasadam here, and
They were shocked.
They were shocked. What is this? You glorified Vrindavan Dham or Mayapur Dham for months to bring us here. And when we come here, we have to pay and eat. Oh, they were shocked. People who we took well-wishers or devotees, even devotees, our devotees who are chanting, reading.
You can collect for that actually, for distributing prasadam.
In Kartik month and all, I guess they give PR. People sponsor. I think that is.
Yeah, actually, just like even if somebody comes to temple, Prabhupada said
And
that,
Prabhupada, he said that along with Sankirtan, prasadam distribution should be outside.
even in temple, he said,
What to speak of Sankirtan? You can't present as a devotee there, right? Those who go to distribute this whatever food for life and all Akshay Patra, they don't have tilak and all this kind of things.
It's focus and it will not devotion and prasad. That's a different thing. But Prabhupada said, I don't know, somehow ISKCON is not able to implement it. Prabhupada said every temple should have, any guest comes, any visitor comes, he should not go without prasadam in the temple.
He said very opulent prasadam. He
Yeah,
said
puri,
puri, halwa,
hot puris should be there.
puri and halwa. He
Puri,
said.
halwa, hot.
We are not in Sunday. I heard one lecture in which Maharaj said that one of the rose Sunday Kartik we shouldn't do.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama. I'll continue this tomorrow again. Hare Krishna.